In Ontario, the Liberals' green energy program has cost taxpayers billions of dollars, paying huge premiums for contracts to private corporations for energy that Ontario does not need. This is an account of one private developer awarded a 40-year contract to construct a hydro plant in the middle of one of Ontario's most scenic and environmentally sensitive communities, the town of Bala on Lake Muskoka. The entire Muskoka watershed flows south from Algonquin Park down into the Muskoka Lakes, Rosso, Joseph, and finally Lake Muskoka. This water is then channeled through 3 waterway entrances into Bala Bay and through the town of Bala down the Moon River to Georgian Bay. The provincial Liberals have teamed up with local and district governments and the Ministry of Natural Resources and Forestry, all with conflicting fiscal interests, to support a for-profit private developer to destroy public lands while building this hydro plant. Progressive Conservative leader Doug Ford took the time to visit the falls in Bala.
This is about the surplus energy being constructed on public land for private profit.
This small community has been divided. A landmark heritage site demolished, and most importantly, the developer has demonstrated a blatant disregard for water safety and is taking a chance on the environment with potential catastrophic results to the Muskoka watershed. This private developer is contracted to construct a power plant to produce a minuscule 4.3 megawatts of power that our province would too often sell at a loss or give away to the United States. At this location alone, Ontario taxpayers would fork out a ridiculous subsidy of $100 million over 40 years for the equivalent of 2 wind turbines of power. This is the choke point on the entire Muskoka watershed, with potential repercussions on a massive tourist economy. Over the Moon River, we see the destruction, the devastation that has occurred at the hands of this private contractor, the result of a Liberal contract. Under the knife of dynamite and heavy equipment, age-old trees have been uprooted and blasting has shredded Muskoka granite, making way for a dangerous concrete bunker. A power plant. The construction of this power plant is already negatively impacting water quality and our environment. The original site has always provided a scenic haven for generations of families and visitors for public swimming, fishing, and the enjoyment of nature. In 2016, we saw one of 3 100-year floods in the last 5 years. This proposed project would result in the private for-profit developer controlling the water level for the thousands of property owners in Muskoka. This developer would be paid more money when the water level is higher because they'd be paid more for the electricity they'd generate. Higher water levels mean a higher chance of flooding and damage when there is an unexpected rainstorm.
They have no idea what the environmental impacts of this project will be. The province's own scientific experts are recommending the opposite of what's happening here in Muskoka. The experts are telling the government not to choke the Muskoka watershed and do not overdevelop it.
The Ministry of Natural Resources and Forestry appears more interested in abdication of its responsibilities than protection of the watershed, leaving the vulnerable ecosystem unguarded during a period of unprecedented threat and peril. Who are the stewards of responsibility for safety and liability? What about the natural habitat, the spawning grounds downstream? If we imperil the environment, we imperil wildlife and the ecosystem. Millions of dollars in property damage is the result of flooding impacting boathouses, docks, businesses, and public lands. Is Premier Wynne gambling on a private developer with the economy of our $23 billion Muskoka watershed?
Ontarians deserve to know who has been influenced. This project stinks of political interest and insider deals.
Hydroelectric generating stations are deadly to those who get too close. with no respect for the environment, imagine what will become of these privately owned cottages. The dangers faced from the giant turbine. It would be unprecedented to build such a dangerous industrial facility in the middle of a popular in-water recreational area. Yet that's what the provincial Liberals have approved this private developer to build. What will be left? No one will come to see where the falls used to be.
We're known to make sure what we say we're going to do, we're going to do. And as sure as I'm standing here, I'm going to come back, and each and every one of you can hold me accountable. I will be back here in the same spot, and we're going to stop this project.
Bala needs your help. The Liberal government under Premier Wynne has shown they would risk public safety just to provide a $100 million subsidy to a private developer to generate power that Ontario does not need. Doug Ford has said the Progressive Conservatives will stop this proposed project. When voting this June 7th, the choice is yours.